Uh, okay, cool. I haven't done this in a while. I think the last time I recorded any of these was sometime last year. I don't know if it was before June or after June, but um, I think it's time for me to get back to working on study center for the year 2023. I'm trying to get to a stable product. I think I've been doing engineering for the longest time, and I think that I am starting to be comfortable only being in the engineering phase, because I find myself always having, okay, let me add this, let me add this, let me fix this. But as far as it comes to people using, or rather finding the platform beneficial, well, we haven't really tested that. So it's Feb right now, 13th of Feb 2023. And what I want to do is get to a point where study center can start being, not really start being, because I recall that during last year's November exams, there are people that were actually using study center. Two use cases particularly. One use case was downloading past papers, as well as the second use case being he was busy with Informatics 370, INF 370, which is the project module, and he kept being stuck on certain, I believe he was using Angular, and he kept um, being able to ask questions on the platform. Even if I'm the one that was responding to most of those questions, and him using the platform, it actually, or him rather, using Study Center, it actually gave me an opportunity to see, okay, this should be implemented, this should not be implemented. For instance, if I show you something like this, so he was busy with 370, right? 370. I'm just going to show you an example of what I mean by saying that I think it's time. Let me just minimize this. Okay, let's put it over here. So now, if we look at tutor dev, I think that's him. Let's go to this question. We then definitely see that JWT token does not get sent to a client. And essentially, this is what he was stuck on. And while I was assisting him with this question, I got to a place where I could actually see that, as you can see here, this was being responded. I'm the one that was responding to this question. But then I could see that there was a need to edit this. I think I edited this question. Let's see. Well, but I remember being able to edit this question so that, because his images were like very big in terms of width, right? They were filling up the entire screen's width. And I remember saying, oh, actually, there's a need to edit these questions. And I was able to implement the see, I think here is after I realized that I also have to add editing a question, because I added a comment to say that the answer below does not address your question. Could you please edit the question to show the implementation of the set token? This definitely shows that I had edit a question already implemented, edit, right? So I remember doing that during November last year. And during December, Jan, there was a lot that was happening, and I sort of forgot about study center, man. You know. So no, what I want to do is I've just been thinking about most of the main functionality is there. You can ask a question, get answers, and things like that. That was the main function when it comes to discussions, getting help, and things like that, right? So what I then want to do is I realized that the URLs are quite long. So I've been working on a solution for that. Not only that, but I wanted to start being able to So we have this functionality where you can share a link, right? But I want to sort of make this link very short because it's too long. It's scary, man. And also, I've been looking at some online platforms for inspiration, and I realized that they use so we have a 12th grade 12th grade views when it comes to um, UI design. 12th grade, I remember second year we were being taught about 12th grade in Bootstrap. So most of platforms talking about Twitter, talking about Twitter, talking about Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever platform you can think of, they still utilize that. Maybe it would be 22282 or 336, whereby the content is actually in the middle of the screen. I don't know, but I really find that as appealing to the eye. It's like it draws your center in terms of where your focus is as a user or someone that's using the platform. It then says focus in the middle of. That's where the main action is. I still have to read up on actually the reasons behind that layout, but I truly think that there's a reason behind why many systems are in that 363 layout, grid layout. So I also want to do that, but essentially what I want to get to is I want to get to, now it's Feb. Ideally, I'd like to say maybe, well, my point of reference is UP Tux. And I know that Tux usually has their semester tests around March, April. Quarter tests? What are they called? I don't know. But ideally, I'd like for this to be really stable before semester test 1 commence, which is like around March, towards end of March. If I can do that, I think that I would have achieved the first goal for 2023 for Study Center. Get to a point where I'm not really developing new features, but I'm doing most of, let's say, maybe bugs that are being picked up as people are finding it useful, just to get a sense of how are people actually using it, right? So that's actually why I'm just recording this video. I think it's just to get myself back into recording these videos. I haven't been documenting the process at all, but I think also it's because there hasn't been any process to document. I haven't been working on Study Center. Oh, by the way, we also got flagged, but I think that's in a different video because this one is pretty much for an engineering brain fart. It's in that department, right? So I think I'm gonna do another video for the finances, and I think quite a lot that I'd like to share there. Just our experience with SARS and everything. At the same time, I'm very grateful that it happens when Study Center doesn't pretty much have any revenue of any sort, you know. So, in a nutshell, we incurred penalties with SARS, and it was interesting. It was interesting because I don't have a financial background. Everything that I've been doing when it comes to finances for Study Center, things that I learned online, such as having an income statement, balance sheet, and all of that. So I will do a video where I go through all of that just to document. Again, you guys know that the only reason I do all of these things is just for documenting purposes. There's so much that I've been doing for Study Center. Study Center started working in Study Center back in 2017, and there's so many things that I learned along the way, things that I'm still using today, lessons that are still applicable today. And I just, you know what, let me just start documenting everything. I don't know where Study Center is going to end up, but I'm glad. Actually, one of the objectives for last year was to have zero downtime, of which that was the case. We had literally zero downtime last year, and I'm proud about that. You know, it's not something that you would say it's measurable, but I know for a fact that there were times when we would not have I mean, there were times when Study Center was always down. And for me, being able to find a hosting service that's not too expensive, a hosting service that I can still afford to pay every month on a monthly basis. Because right now, Study Center is literally, I'm paying for Study Center from my pocket, you know. And there was a time when we were using Azure, Microsoft's Azure, it was just expensive, you know. So being able to find an alternative, so we're using I believe in just documenting, but we're using right now, we're hosting with DigitalOcean, and DigitalOcean is very much affordable, and it being affordable as it is, it offered me, or Study Center rather, the not having any downtime during 2022. For me, that makes me so much happy, right? It's not something that you can measure. It's not like you can go to someone and say, hey, look, this happened. But just going to bed and knowing that, well, we had zero downtime makes me really happy, right? So that was one of the objectives I had last year, and I've achieved it. So that's very good. Um, let's see what we can achieve this year. It's 2023. Let's see what Study Center can get to. Let's really see. For me, I think one of the most obvious ones is just to get to a place where I can then say the POC, proof of concept, in its minimum, hey, these acronyms are a lot, MVP, minimum viable product, is stable. I no longer need to add any features. You know, I just want to get to that stage this year. By next month, to say I'm no longer adding any features, right? It's stable. The only dev work that I'm doing is when it comes to maintenance issues, bugs that were picked up in production. So that's it for this video. Yeah, man.